Now discuss about the anatomy of the ulnar nerve. Ulnar nerve controls the movement of the fingers. So it is also known as musician nerve. It is often used by musicians. So it is also known as musician nerve. So first of all, we make diagram. This is humerus. This is medial epicondyle. Here is radius. Here is ulna. This is ulna bone. Here is interosseous membrane. This is interosseous membrane. Here is flexor retinaculum. This is medial intermuscular septum. This is medial intermuscular septum. This is lateral intermuscular septum. Here is scapula. Here, if you see from medial side to elbow joint, you will find like this. This is ulna. This is ulna. This is coronary process. This is oligoclavicular process of ulna. This is medial epicondyle. This is medial epicondyle. And here a ligament is present. This ligament is known as ulnar colector ligament. This ligament is ulnar colector ligament. And here a fibrous sheath is present. Fibrous sheath between this oligoclavicular process. This is oligoclavicular process. And here this is a fibrous sheath which connects the oligoclavicular process with medial epicondyle. There is a tunnel is formed deep to this. This tunnel is known as cubital tunnel. This is cubital tunnel. This is cubital tunnel. Another diagram, if you cut a transverse section at this level, here, you will find this is first, second, third, this is fourth, this is fifth metacarpal. This is first, second, third, fourth and fifth metacarpal, and here this muscle is Apponens pollicis. This is Apponens pollicis. Here is abductor pollicis, abductor pollicis brevis. Here is flexor pollicis brevis, flexor pollicis brevis. These are thenar muscles. And here is adductor pollicis. This is also thenar muscle. Here is dorsal interossei. This is first dorsal interossei between first and second metacarpal, and here is second dorsal interossei. This is third dorsal interossei. This is fourth dorsal interossei. And here is first palmar interossei. There is second palmar interossei. There is third palmar interossei. There is fourth palmar interossei. Here is tendon of flexor digitorum profundus. These are four tendons of flexor digitorum profundus. First lumbrical takes origin from here. This is first lumbrical. Here is second lumbrical. Here is third lumbrical. This is fourth lumbrical. This is third lumbrical. Third, this is fourth. This is first and this is second. These are the flexor, tendon of flexor digitorum profundus. Another muscle, here is, this is Apponens digiti minimi. This muscle is Apponens digiti minimi. This is Apponens digiti minimi. Another muscle is, this is flexor digiti minimi. Flexor digiti minimi. This is abductor digiti minimi. Abductor digiti minimi. And here, the subcutaneous muscle is also present, that is palmaris brevis. This is palmaris brevis. This is subcutaneous muscle. So here, this is thenar eminence, this is hypothenar eminence. And the diagram of this region, here is flexor retinaculum, this is flexor retinaculum, here is scaphoid, this is pisiform, this is scaphoid, tubercle of scaphoid, this is pisiform, here is trapezium, here is hamate, this is trapezium, this is hamate. Here between pisiform and hamate, here is pisohamate ligament is present, and deep to this pisohamate there is a tunnel is formed. This tunnel is known as pisohamate tunnel. This tunnel is known as pisohamate tunnel. It is also known as Bowen's canal. Bowen's canal. And here, if you cut a section at this level, you will find that this is trapezium, this is trapezoid, trapezium, trapezoid, this is capitate, there is hamate, this is hamate, and here is this is flexor reticulum, this is thenar eminence, here is hypothenar eminence, and a fibrous sheath here, it forms ulnar tunnel. This is ulnar tunnel. This is ulnar carpal ligament. This is known as ulnar carpal ligament, and this tunnel is known as ulnar tunnel. This is ulnar tunnel. So here you have seen the cubital tunnel, this is ulnar tunnel, and there is pisohamate tunnel. There are 3 tunnels you have seen. Now we will start discussion about the ulnar nerve. As you know, here is ventral rami of C5, C6, C7, C8, and this is T1. C5 and 6 form upper trunk, C7 form the middle trunk, C8 and T1 form lower trunk. Now, all 3 trunk divide, dorsally form the posterior cord, and ventral division of upper and middle trunk form the lateral cord. This is lateral cord, and this ventral division of lower trunk is from the medial cord. This is medial cord, and from medial cord, as we have already discussed, here is a median nerve is formed. This median nerve. This is median nerve. Which is lateral root. This is medial root of the median nerve. Lateral root comes from lateral cord, medial from medial cord. And here, this medial cord gives another branches: medial pectoral, medial cutaneous nerve of arm, medial cutaneous nerve of forearm. This is medial root of median nerve, and it continues as this. This is ulnar nerve. This is ulnar nerve. So this ulnar nerve has root value of C8 and T1. Root value is C8 and T1. It also contains, in 95% cases, it also contains fibers from C7. I am making from different color. This is fiber from C7. This is fiber from C7. It goes into lateral cord. From lateral cord, then lateral root of the median nerve. From here, this fiber join to this ulnar nerve. This C7 fiber, so its root value is C7, C8 and T1. This is pathway of the C7. This C7 root value gives supply to flexor carpi ulnaris muscle. Flexor carpi ulnaris. So now this nerve crosses the axilla. It comes into the arm. Here it pierces the medial intermuscular septum in the arm. It passes into posterior compartment like this. Here is position of medial intermuscular septum. From here, anterior compartment, it passes to the septum, it goes into the posterior compartment like this. So it goes into posterior compartment. Now it passes under the cubital tunnel. This is cubital tunnel. It passes under the cubital tunnel. Here. It passes under the cubital tunnel. Then it passes superficial to ulnar collateral ligament. This is ulnar collateral ligament. Now it reaches. Now it reaches from here. It reaches into the forearm like this. And here, in this forearm, there is flexor carpi ulnaris. This is flexor carpi ulnaris, which has ulnar head, which has humeral head. This is humeral head and this is ulnar head. So it has two heads. This is flexor carpi ulnaris. This C7 fiber gives supply to this muscle, flexor carpi ulnaris. The C7 fiber. Here. Now, after passing deep to this, up through this cubital tunnel here and crossing the medial ulnar collateral ligament, again it passes between two heads of the flexor carpi ulnaris. This is humeral head and this is ulnar head. Passes between these two heads and this run downward. Here it gives branch to flexor carpi ulnaris, especially C7 fibers. And here it also gives supply to medial half of, this is medial half of flexor digitorum profundus. This is medial half of flexor digitorum profundus. Lateral half of flexor digitorum profundus is supplied by median nerve. This is medial half which is supplied by ulnar nerve. This. About middle of the forearm, it gives a branch that is known as, this is palmar cutaneous branch, which passes superficial to this. This is palmar cutaneous branch. It gives supply to skin over the hypothenar eminence, skin over the hypothenar eminence, and medial 1/3 of this concavity of the palm. This concavity of the palm. Medial 1/3. Lateral 2/3 of this concavity is supplied by median nerve. So medial 1/3 of the concavity of the palm and also skin over the hypothenar eminence. It is supplied by this nerve. This is palmar cutaneous branch, which passes superficial to flexor retinaculum. And about 5 centimeters proximal to this flexor retinaculum, it gives another branch, that is dorsal digital branch. Dorsal digital branch. This dorsal digital branch winds lower part of the ulna, and from here it reaches on the back side, posterior side, and it gives supply to medial 1.5 digit. It gives supply to medial 1.5 digit on the dorsal aspect. This nerve is dorsal digital branch. This is dorsal digital branch. It passes from here and it goes to back side and gives supply to dorsum of the 1.5 digit. This is dorsal digital branch. So here it reaches, after giving these two branches, it reaches up to flexor retinaculum. Up to here, this is flexor retinaculum. Up to flexor retinaculum. Here it is under cover of this is ulnar carpal ligament. Here is ulnar carpal ligament. This lies within the ulnar carpal ligament, and this ligament forms the ulnar tunnel. It passes through ulnar tunnel. Ulnar tunnel. And here, just lateral to pisiform bone, it divides into superficial and deep branch. This is superficial and deep branch. This deep branch passes through pisohamate tunnel, and this superficial branch is superficial to flexor retinaculum. This superficial branch here gives supply to palmaris brevis muscle. In this diagram, suppose here is nerve, it gives superficial branch. This is superficial branch. This is ulnar nerve. It gives superficial branch. It gives supply to the palmaris brevis. It gives supply to the palmaris brevis muscle, and it gives branch, that is palmar digital branch. It gives supply to 1.5 digit of the medial side. 1.5 digit, this and this. This is palmar digital branch. The superficial branch gives supply to palmaris brevis muscle. This is palmaris brevis muscle, that is subcutaneous muscle here. And after giving branch to this palmaris brevis, it gives branch, palmar digital branch, gives supply to palmar surface of the 1.5 digit. And also it extends on the dorsal side of these 1.5 fingers, gives supply to the nail bed and skin over the distal phalanx of medial 1.5 digit. So this is palmar digital branch. Now this is about the superficial branch. Now this deep branch passes through pisohamate tunnel, or also known as Gouin's canal. It passes through Gouin's canal, and here, after passing through Gouin's canal, this is Gouin's canal here, it gives branch to this muscle. This is flexor digiti minimi. It gives branch to abductor digiti minimi. It gives branch to opponens digiti minimi. It gives branch to fourth palmar introsei, fourth dorsal introsei. Again it gives branch to third palmar introsei, third dorsal introsei. It gives branch to fourth and third lumbrical, fourth and fourth and third lumbricals. It gives branch to adductor hallucis. It gives branch to second dorsal interossei, second palmar interossei. Again it runs laterally and gives branch to first dorsal interossei, first palmar interossei, and it also gives branch to deep head of flexor pollicis brevis. Superficial head of the flexor pollicis brevis is supplied by median nerve. Sometimes both the heads supplied by median nerve, but in some cases the superficial head supplied by median nerve and deep head by ulnar nerve. So these structures are supplied by ulnar nerve, deep branch of ulnar nerve. So this is the formation, course and relation of the ulnar nerve. Thank you. Discuss about the ulnar nerve applied aspect. Here you have seen the course and relation of the ulnar nerve. Here ulnar nerve passes through three tunnels. One tunnel is cubital tunnel. If there is fibrosis of these fibers, there is thickening of these fibers, then here in cubital tunnel this may compress. In case of fracture dislocation of medial epicondyle of the humerus, this may be compressed. After passing through this tunnel, here it passes between two head of flexor carpi ulnaris. Here it may be compressed. After passing through this, here in ulnar tunnel it may compress here. Here in piso-hamate tunnel it may compress here. If this nerve compress, then what happens? It gives supply to the numerous 15 muscles here. 15 muscles here, 1.5 muscle of the forearm and 15 muscle of the hand. So if this nerve damage, what happens? The adductors, palmar interossei are adductors and dorsal interossei are abductors of the fingers. Lumbricals, third and fourth lumbrical. Lumbrical are flexor at metacarpopharyngeal joint and extensor at interpharyngeal joint. So, and other muscle, that is adductor pollicis, which causes adduction. All these muscles paralyze. Then what happens? There is this area become wasted. Hypothenar muscles become paralyzed and this area become wasted. And another thing, there is, you can test this by asking the patient to hold the card in between the two fingers. This is card test. The patient cannot hold it firmly. So you can check by pulling this like this. You can check this power of the palmar interossei, which is supplied by this nerve. Another thing, you can check the adductor pulses by book test, giving the book and ask the patient hold the book. Patient cannot hold the book easily. He try to hold the book by flexing the thumb here at distal interphalangeal joint, not adducting like this. So this is book test by which you can test the adductor pulses. There is another clinical importance, that is claw hand. Claw hand, ulnar claw hand. This third and fourth digit here. Here third and fourth lumbricals are supplied by ulnar nerve. If these lumbricals are paralyzed, dorsal and palmar interossei are paralyzed, then what happens? The interossei are lumbricals are flexor at metacarpophalangeal joint and extensor at the interphalangeal joint. If these muscles are paralyzed due to unopposed action, these become like this. There is hyperextension at metacarpophalangeal joint and proximal flexion at interphalangeal joint. Flexion at proximal interphalangeal joint. If lesion is here, then at the level of wrist, then there is also flexion at distal interphalangeal joint. If lesion is here, there is hyperextension at the metacarpophalangeal joint and flexion at the proximal interphalangeal joint. If lesion is at the wrist, then there is flexion at the proximal interphalangeal joint and distal interphalangeal joint and hyperextension at the metacarpophalangeal joint. This is also known as ulnar paradox. So this is here. In this case, if lesion is here, the claw hand is more pronounced in comparison to lesion here. So this is all about the applied aspect of the ulnar nerve.